I see you, Francie. Scaling up. View request. Go live scaling.
And since I sent a request to join.
Yeah, I saw it and I said I invite to join. I pressed invite to join. When someone joins, anyone can see. I think I hear you now. Scaling is unable to join. I don't know why it's saying that.
Uh, Kimberly, could you say
There
again?
she is. She's good. She's in. Perfect. I wonder, Kimberly, maybe I look too naked with all this naked wall.
With all what?
My wall was not a naked wall, but it was just so plain. There we go. That's a little bit better. Oh, perfect.
Man, I think you're just gonna be. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. Where it is. All right. Do you
It
want me to
looks
leave the?
good.
Do you want me to leave the Zoom?
Yeah, I can too. And I think we can just talk until we start for real, because nobody else, I can't see anybody else is on other than Francie. Perfect. We have about 5 minutes. And I'll tell you what happened the last. I think other people are going to be on. Somebody from Nebo, I don't know if you saw that, when they were like, oh, the two of them together, I'm going to miss that. And I was like, oh, that was kind of you.
I didn't. Girl, please. I've
In
been
the car,
in the car.
doing the thing.
Mhm. I
Perfect.
met your friend too.
You met my friend?
Mm-hmm. Your friend that you told me to call and talk to. Yeah, he was talking to me while I was driving back yesterday. Girl, had me dying. I was like, okay.
I told you, he's available. He's available.
Had me dying. Okay.
He's available. You have to tell me what he said. I can imagine. I can imagine. I've only hung out with him one time, but he ended up being one of my favorite people. And he was, he was fun to be in Cuba with. He was really fun.
Mm,
It was good. It was good to be. Are you
I
standing?
am. Can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm. Francie, can you hear Kimberly? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Cool.
It's
And
one of the things I
France,
realized is I can't connect the Blue Snowball to my iPhone. So it was like, oh, that's really interesting. I'll have to investigate a USB microphone instead.
and
A Bluetooth. Hmm.
Francie, can you hear us? Francie. Oh shoot! You know what else I did? I took her off. I took her off. We might have to just. Let me see. I'm just imagining what Paul was saying to you. It's good people.
Hmm.
Such good people. Such a big heart.
I was like, this is very informative. I think this is good information for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I have and it would probably be more like connecting to another entrepreneur who actually like came from the advertising world.
Hmm.
Just someone else to know to do. We have about 2 minutes, so in 2 minutes, I'm just gonna have us go to start the thing, go live with it.
Okay. Is she recording? Like,
Yeah, that's what I don't know where she went. I'm like, but I might it might have been me when I hung up on the Zoom,
mm,
and I'm not getting off my phone to text or
figure it
call
out.
or anything.
We'll just go. Maybe it's recorded, maybe it's not.
Yeah. Oh, she's here. Hey, and Francie, do I do anything particular to record? I see you just came on. I see her saying hey. And Francie, you can get back on the Zoom if that's easier. All right, we got about 1 more minute. Oh, it's currently recording. Okay, cool. And just Francie, so I know, just people are going to be able to come in. I don't have to accept them in. And it, Kimberly, as you, is recording.
Okay, perfect.
So I'm so glad we didn't say anything crazy.
Oh, yeah, no.
Today's the 10th, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hello, hello. It is Thursday, April 10th at 6:30. We are live this week. Last week we tried to do this, and as the kids say, life be life, and the technology didn't work. But I'm so grateful and glad that Kimberly Lewis Parsons was able to do it again in 7 days. So welcome. Before we get started, let me introduce myself, and then I will ask Kimberly to come in. My name is Dr. Felicia Lauren Hillman. I am the founder of the October Group, where we work at the nexus of culture, strategy, and leadership. We see leadership as the binding between the culture and the strategy. And I have the pleasure of spending the next 45 minutes today with Kimberly Lewis Parsons, who is the founder of Bamboo Teaming. And as I invite your voice in, Kimberly, would love for you to tell us a little bit about Bamboo Teaming and what's in that name. What's in the name Bamboo Teaming? Uh-oh. All of a sudden, Kimberly, maybe she's going to come back in. I see her smiling. See if she's going to sign back in. Well, this will be a 2 weeks in a row where the technology wasn't working. I'm going to give Kimberly a few minutes to come back in and see if this works this time. In the meantime, see what happened here. Let's give it a few more minutes. Oh, there you are. You know,
I
and no
am.
worries. And I'm not sure where we ended, and it's good anyway. So I'm going to restart. Is that good?
Okay. Yeah, go
All
for
right,
it.
good. So we are doing this again, and technology is doing what she will do, and that's okay. Um, again, I am Dr. Felicia Lauren Hillman, the founder of the October Group, working at the nexus of culture, strategy, and leadership. Today, I am joyful to have Kimberly Lewis Parsons with me, founder of Bamboo Teaming. So, Kimberly, if you can introduce us to your firm and even tell us about the name Bamboo Teaming.
Yeah, good. So I am so glad to be here. I'm telling you, this must be a powerful conversation we're about to have because it's trying to keep us away from it. So who knows whose lives we're about to touch with this conversation.
Yes,
So I'm
I
Kimberly
love
Lewis
that.
Parsons. I'm the founder and CEO of Bamboo Teaming, as you just said. And Felicia, this is how I always like answer that question. Let me start with when you think about Western culture, now Western culture, when you think about bamboo, what comes to mind? How would you describe it?
Rooted, long, tall, strong, pandas, my mother's house.
Okay, I'm gonna go with rooted, tall, and strong. Well, for us, teaming, we think about teaming as a verb because we do it together and we really come in and help teams to be more effective. And we want any team that we touch to be like bamboo, to be rooted, having great team habits, right? And having
Mhm,
that take root within the organization.
mhm.
We want the way that that team works together to be so strong that it catapults their organization into a different level of success and impact. And other words that we tend to get are, it's hard to kill, it spreads like wildfire. And we're like, that's how we want teaming, a culture of teaming to be in an organization. We want good teaming, great teams to be hard to kill and to spread like wildfire within the organization.
I love that. Spread like wildfire. And that is a good kind of fire that we want to talk about. So thank you for that. And thank you for the visual of that, right? You want it to be a contagion. And as we know, both of us know very similar work we do, all work gets done through teams.
Mm-hmm.
All the work gets done through teams. So the more powerful they are, the stronger the performance we can get. Want to bring you in with a little bit of a connection just to warm us up here. Tell me about a time that over your career that surprised you, that informed your leadership.
Mm,
When you think about over the space and pacing of your career, give me a moment that taught you a little bit about, ooh, this is leadership.
this is leadership. Um, Yeah, okay. So let me go back to so prior to coming into this work and having my own business, like my roots, where I started in my career, I had 10 years in technology before transitioning into people as my widget as opposed to zeros and ones as my widget. And so let me take you back to my tech days. And from there, one of the roles that I had, as I held several roles, but one of the roles that I had in my career was an agile coach. And an
Mm,
agile coach is really the one that comes in, they have their arms around the team, they're helping their IT team to really like deliver and perform together. And so this was like a watershed moment in my career when one day, so, we're all just sitting around the room, we're working together, and then all of a sudden I hear just going back and forth between two of my team members. And I look up, Felicia, and one of them is like, I'm gonna meet you in the parking lot. Let me take off my earrings. Like, you keep on talking. So I'm like, oh my gosh, what is happening? Right? So that was surprising. I think you said surprising. That was surprising.
yes.
But what happened is once we actually calmed down the situation,
Mm,
I led them through the whole team, not those two people and the whole team, through like
sure.
a series of how do we relate to one another?
Mm,
what needs to
Mm.
happen for us to be
Yes.
in human relationship together, doing the work that we're doing? What does it look like for us to be at peak optimal performance, collaboration, cohesion as a team? So
Mm.
fast forward to the end, like our team actually ended up exceeding the expectations and the
Yes.
goals that we had set once we were able to clear the table on all of that. But for me, I really like that moment is crystallized in my head is like that turning point of this is what I want to do. I
Mm.
really want to work with teams. I want to work with leadership teams because if we can get the leadership teams functioning together, it trickles down into the whole organization. But that was like my moment of yeah, it takes a strong leader and a strong team to really be able to come together and do this work. Because, like you said, like one of our beliefs is we were all put on this earth to do good work, but we can't do it by ourselves. Like anything that
Yes.
is great and amazing will happen through a team coming
Yeah.
together.
Through others. You know, one of the things I'm hearing you say that happened in this moment, and I'm curious about you in this in particular, they had to recover from that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not like that's not when we get to taking off our earrings, it's not something we be like, well, let's just not talk about it anymore. We'll come back to work, right? So when you think about that and you said it drew you in, what was it about that that drew you into that?
Um, I love what was it that drew me in? First off, the adrenaline. So, how I am built to lean in to the challenge. I'm built to lean in to the complexity and the
I
dynamics. And
love
I
it.
know that, like, my other coach colleagues, like, we're not all built for that. And so, for me,
Yes.
when I was going through early on in my journey to team coaching, because that's my specialty area that my firm specializes in, is in team coaching. Early on, my first instructor of team coaching as a discipline said team coaching is the X Games of coaching. And it takes
Mm.
a certain type of person to want to be out there, like on
Mm-hmm.
the edge,
Mm-hmm.
in the system of a team, working the dynamics that's happening in the room, working all the complexity and the layers. And so for me, like I think that's what it was. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was
Mm-hmm.
like,
Mm-hmm.
ooh, this is juicy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, let's dig in.
Yeah, yeah,
What's
yeah,
going
yeah.
on?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see you were curious. You were leaning forward. You were clearly seeing yourself as capable. You say team coaching, and the word coaching has it's almost like tissue or Xerox. You know what I mean? It's just become a word on its
Mhm.
own. And I'm so curious from your perspective. In fact, let me make it real specific. Remember back when Jace, Jace, was 5? And how would you explain team coaching to him? If you had to explain it to that level, what is team coaching?
Okay, so Jace is my son, for those that don't know, and he will correct you on the spelling of his name. Um, so I say it in two layers. Okay, so first off, like my entryway, and it's funny because he can actually explain this better than some adults.
Hmm.
And when they say, "What does your
Hmm.
mom do?" or "What do you do?" So that very first thing I say is, we help leadership teams work better together so they can accelerate results, so they can get to results faster, they can get to impact faster. We help teams
Hmm.
work better together. That's what we're doing.
Hmm. Yeah.
And then when I get into team coaching, I like to use like the analogy of like a sports team. So as a team coach, it's like the coach of an athletic team, right? And when we are team coaching, when we're getting in with the team, we come into the playing field of their real work. Like that's where the action is happening, in their real work. So we get on the field with them.
Ah,
And
ah.
we we pause the tape. We help them to see, create those pause moments so that they can get on the balcony and see how they are being together as a team. So we
Mm-hmm.
help them create
Mm-hmm.
that awareness, and we help them say, well, what does great teaming look like? Who did you say you want to be? How did you say you want it to be? what does greatness look like for you in whatever area we're working on? And then we say, okay, what do you want to do differently? So we give them choice. So it's about creating that awareness by pausing the action on the field, create the awareness, and then give them the choice to do something different. And then we unpause the action, go back in, play. And then we keep at it. We keep at it over a period of time. And it's all for the sake of helping them to like make the new behaviors that they want to have as a
Mm,
stick.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sticky. Here's the other thing that I'm hearing that is very different than one-on-one coaching. You are in their space, you are in their arena,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you're in their arena to watch how they do that, how they do that thing where they do it. You said one thing that has me curious. You said you wanted to be this kind of team. Normally, when you come into the space, have they declared that? Do they know? Or are they all just doing what they think a team should do?
So I gave you the 5-year-old version. So part of our process when we're working with the team is like we like to start with what I say is like getting real with each other.
Mhm.
So we take them through a process to understand what's working, because you are doing some amazing things. Like what is working, and where is opportunity? And here's like the model, like based off of study research
Mhm.
of effective teams. Like here's a model that we have that we present to them to say, if you get these things in place as a team, this will help you to be effective, to be higher performing, right? So taking them through that process, one of the things I like for our company that we do is we say, not the 10 things that need to change in a team. What's the one or two or three things that would be game changing if you did it differently and how you do it
Mhm.
together?
Mhm.
And so we
Mhm.
help them paint that picture of great
Mhm.
teaming, good teaming for them in those one or two or three areas, that if they get that right, it's going to open up like higher potential, higher performance for them as a team. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And something you just said that is so important right now is not all the things. What are a few things? What are
Mm-hmm.
the few things that you can do? And then you went just like that to open you up. And I think people used to think, oh, I need 10. I need 10 to do. You only need a few, and those few will take care of everything else. So I really appreciate that. I also appreciate that distinction between, and again, when you do one-on-one coaching, it is a much more private, and you tend to take them out of their space
Mm-hmm.
in a way, and then you send them back in. And I will just offer, where I did my coaching program, that was the big deal. Equip them to go back into the arena, not
Mm-hmm.
just themselves. How are they going to go back in and have impact across that arena? I want to even get a little bit more speaking about focus and narrow. We're just gliding out of Women's History Month, and it's May, almost May. We're in the midst of April celebrating that. May will be Mother's Day, but I always see this time of year as a more feminine, if you will, focused on women type time of year.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking about what are some tips? Because I imagine, well, let me not imagine. Let me ask you, how, and I know this word feels sticky these days. How diverse are the teams that you work with?
Mm. Okay. That's a great question. So, there are all forms of diversity
Yes,
that's out there, right?
absolutely.
All forms of diversity. So it depends on which dimension of diversity are we actually talking about here, right? Like I will say the truth of the matter, right? Like in the larger organizations, typically it's going to be, if you're thinking about demographic wise, fewer women, fewer people of color within those teams. But here's the thing that is like the common thread is there's diversity of thought, right?
Yes, yeah,
And
yeah.
diversity of experiences, diversity of backgrounds that people are coming into the teams. And that's where like I would say a lot of the human connection is where oftentimes the space that we don't give enough time, we don't pay enough attention to that, because while we both are females, we both are African American, we have a whole set of identity, history, culture, family things that we're bringing into the team. And so that's the space where we're trying to be human together. And oftentimes, when I'm working with teams, they want us to come in and fix the thing, fix the work thing, fix the collaboration thing. And we're like, yes, and because we want you to get to results. I'm
Yeah.
all about results, don't get me wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a
Yeah.
whole thing in this diversity of people and humans and where we
Hmm.
came from that's at play underneath the surface that we have to address that.
Yeah. In fact, leaders go first, and when they're like, fix the thing, absolutely. And we're going to start with a mirror, right? That's where we're going to start. And then all the things will come to light that we need to fix. Within this confines, I'm curious, because we still are dealing with the demographics that we're dealing with. Thinking about women specifically and the teams that you run across your Bamboo's team is experience, specifically for women, what would be three practical tips that you think women could use and
Mm.
leverage?
Okay, so you know I'm gonna give you an answer from the perspective of being a teaming expert, being an expert in the space of teams, right? And I love
Absolutely.
the African proverb around if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And so when I think about specifically women leaders,
Yes.
it really is about, for me, like how do you lead your teams? I love the title, right? Lead your teams boldly, because
Hmm.
it is through how effective you are as a leader with getting your team performing well will help you to go further, have greater impact, have greater results within your organization. So to
Hmm.
answer your question, like I'm going to give you three tips for women in leadership roles or aspiring to
Yeah.
step into leadership roles in terms of how do they nurture their team? How do they lead their teams boldly to be able to go far? Is that
Yes.
okay if I
That's
go there?
beautiful. It's even more beautiful because you've had two words: do it boldly and do them to go far. And you also kept in the word to nurture the team, because that's a gender-free word. And I think too often that word is attached to gender. So hearing about the bolding and far is important.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna try and get through these. You just cut me off if I'm
No, no,
talking
no.
too
You
much. So the
got
first
it.
one
You got the
is
mic. You got the mic.
I would say make sure that everyone is on the same page. I'm like big right now, like same page, same page, same page. As the leader of the team, like the leader, you own the you are like the chief cheerleader of the mission, of the vision, the goals. This is where we're headed. Make sure that you are leading your team in a way that you are constantly communicating. You're cheerleading. You're making sure it's in people's bones. They have it in their bones. We are on the same page about what it is that we're doing. What are our priorities? What's our purpose? What does the company need from
Mm-hmm.
us? You communicate it clearly. It's understood. You keep pointing your team back to it and make it become the North Star for your
Mm-hmm.
team. So part of this, right, is, I've worked with, especially like we're talking about women leaders, right? Like, so I've worked with women leaders where it's almost like this is the bold piece, that declaration of, no, this is what we're doing. Here's where we're going. No, no, you need to get on the same page. And being able, right, to like have that conversation.
Let me share with you what I observed. There wasn't question in that. It was a declaration. It wasn't, you want to go here?
Hmm.
Is this okay? It was very bold and declared.
Hmm.
Bold and declared.
And that's
Mm-hmm.
part of like our responsibility as leaders is to make sure we're all tracking on the same page. And
Yes.
if we're not, we're holding the space. And I don't mean this to say like as the leader, you have to be the end all, the know all, the great I am in terms of your thinking. You invite your team into this space. But once you all decide, that's where we're going. What do you mean you're not on the same page? We need to get back over here on the same page, right? So then you got to own that space.
Love that. Love that. Love
So
that.
that's one.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing that I would say, especially to women leaders, as you're leading your teams, is to make sure that you have the people that are best fit for the stage you're in and the stage you're going, like where you're headed. And Felicia, it's interesting because I find getting the best fit people is what we call it in our framework of effective teaming. Getting the best fit people on the team and letting either moving people off of the team and helping them to find another role that is better fit for them, and or getting them off of the bus, to use Jim Collins' language of having the right people on the bus. This tends to be something that I personally have experienced women leaders to have a hard time doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
there's this concept, right, of like rip the band-aid off. Because in order for you as a leader to like really move your organization forward, move to the next level, right? Turn the page and move to the next chapter of what your team needs to deliver upon. You got to make sure you have the best fit people on the bus with you.
I think so often that piece, the best fit people, when we don't do that, leaders lose credibility. Because everybody's like,
Mm.
don't they see that? Don't they see this person? It reminds me of Sesame Street. Which one doesn't belong? And we're acting like they do, right? And
Yeah,
to your point, it may not be belong here in this role in this moment.
right.
But when leaders don't do that, they just lose such credibility. So I really appreciate that. Want to go just a little step deeper. What do you think it is about women where this second piece of advice is a little harder for them?
Mm. I so what comes to mind, right, is like in my church, let me answer it this way. In my church, one of the things we say about women is that we were created to be life givers. And we want to give life into people. Like that is part of our design. Give life, breathe life, help build this thing up. We're builders. And so just I think it's like coded
Yeah,
in how we are
yeah,
is wanting to like do all we can do to
yeah,
give life to the
yeah,
situation. And I'm like, sometimes, yeah,
yeah. Sometimes the life is elsewhere.
yeah.
Sometimes the life is elsewhere. I also think too, it's not a loyalty thing. It's a belief thing. I believe you can get better.
Hmm.
I believe you can get better. You know, we're gonna do some things for you. All right. I don't wanna, because I can keep going with this one.
We
So
can
you
have a
got
whole
one more for us.
conversation.
One
I,
more. One more.
we can have a whole conversation about that. And I'll just tell you like a
Mm-hmm.
quick data point is like, for example, I've worked with one female leader, and we've been in a conversation about getting the best fit people on your team. I've worked with a male leader, and one of the things that I really admired about this leader was he hired in someone on the executive team, realized after about a month that person was not going to work out, gone.
Yeah.
Because it matters. You got to have the people to get to this next chapter. What how you need to show up in your organization. So, yeah, we'll keep going. We could have a whole
Yeah,
conversation
yeah,
about
yeah. That's real. That's real. And I'm gonna say one last thing. And it's a drag on the
that.
team because they
Hmm.
can't make the plays. Because
Yeah.
they can't make the plays. It's just a drag on the team. All right.
Hmm.
You got one more for
Okay.
us.
So one more. I'm sorry. Let me just go back. One thing I will say is there's a way to do it in love, right? Like there's a way
Yes.
to get the best
Yes.
fit people on, and so I
Yes.
think that idea like gets conflated sometimes for
Mm-hmm.
um, the women leaders that I work with. Okay, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna keep it moving.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the last tip is, one of the things, one of the areas we work with in our effective teaming kind of model is having shared accountability. So the most effective teams have put the structures, the behaviors in place to have shared accountability. So for women leaders, I would say one tip is I'm going to say it this way, turn up the dial on creating shared ownership and shared
Mm-hmm.
accountability across your team.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, as I was thinking about this, for women, particularly women of color, I think there's this whole notion of we got to own the community at all times. We got to put the community on our back and carry the community forward. We got to put the team on our back and make sure. And oh, by the way, if I am holding us in this space of shared accountability and ownership, and I would say call you out, right? Like if we're having those real conversations about what happened, what are the issues, what are the concerns, is that going to make me look some kind of way? Will I be labeled as, whatever I might be labeled as a
Mm-hmm.
female for doing that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it comes
Mm-hmm.
with a whole set of concerns or questions or things that might cause a female leader to not turn the dial up to the level that it needs to be in the team related to shared ownership and shared accountability. And then one more thing I'll say is I was rereading a Harvard Business Review article on collaboration, and this stood out to me because I knew we were going to have this conversation. In this particular article, it's about collaboration. It said that men were 30% more likely to share their knowledge and expertise as their form of collaboration. So let me give you some information and you go work it out. And
Okay.
women
Okay.
and women were 66 more likely to personally assist, get in there, pick it up, help them carry it forward as their form of collaboration. I thought that was really
Yeah.
interesting. So,
Yeah. And it is very different. And going to your imagery, if I'm carrying it on my back, I'm making the assumption I need to carry it with you. And I need to go with you and I need to make sure it gets done. One of the things that I'm a big Brene Brown fan, and a long time ago I read her definition of enabled accountability,
mm,
right? Don't focus on, and I see this oftentimes, as you're saying, with women leaders around this shared accountability. Oftentimes we're spending time holding people accountable as opposed to enabling accountability.
mm,
And what I mean by that is my declaration clear? Is my
mm-hmm,
declaration clear? Okay, good. Do you have the skill sets to carry out my declaration?
mm-hmm,
If you don't, as the leader, it's my responsibility to skill you up, resource you up to make sure you can do it. There's no need to send you out on what you cannot do,
mm-hmm,
right? Then do I leave space for you to come back and ask for help or support if it's not going that way?
mm-hmm,
And as you said, in a way that you're not worried because you're going to be able to grow and learn from that space. There's no fear there. So am I clear? Am I clear you know how to do it and have the resources to do it? And is there space to come back to get support
mm-hmm,
to carry it out? Most of the time we're busy. Do you got it? Do you got it? Do you have it? Versus letting people go do it. So I appreciate that about the shared accountability. This is good. Same page,
mm-hmm.
people on the right seat, and having the courage to let them go when they're not, you know. As I often tell people, you can care, but you don't have to carry.
Oh, I like that. I like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah, because that's what happens. We're like, let's just hold on to them a little bit. Or no, no, we care, but it's time. We need to let them go. And then the shared accountability. Love that.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. Um, where do you see, and we had not talked about this question, but we're seeing so much change and so much shift. When you think about team coaching,
Mm-hmm.
can you imagine, let's just say it's 3 years from now, how do you see it's going to be different? How will it change? How will it evolve?
How will team coaching change and evolve 3 years from
Mhm.
now?
Yeah, if you could imagine that.
So I actually, in my experience, like what we're seeing is team coaching, while it has been a discipline for a while now, people are starting to discover
Mm,
it. And so
mm,
for me, it's not necessarily how will it shift and change, but more about I think it's actually going to become like we're still in like this baby stage of team coaching and it being people being aware of it, people really understanding that the power of it, the impact of it. So my imagination and part of like our vision as a company is in 3 years we want to be first in wallet. My background is in finance, in banking. First in wallet is a banking term. We want to be first in wallet. When you open up your wallet and you like, what does this team need? We need some team coaching. We want to be first in wallet.
We need some bamboo teaming. I love that.
Because
I
people in
love
three
that.
years have just become so aware of like, we really like, we're hanging our shingle on team coaching is like the next revolution of how do you actually get
Mm,
higher
mm,
performance
mm,
within your
mm,
organization.
mm.
And so in 3 years from now, people will really understand that, and they will be building out like this team coaching, bringing it into their organizations. And I will say, part of the reason for that too is I think with like AI and technology and things becoming so people aren't there isn't a lack of knowledge of the thing that we need to do. Here's how we need to be together, right? But that human space that we talked about when we first started, that's the space where, okay, we all know that we need to set goals. Okay, we can read a book on how do we actually set goals. But then when we start getting into execution of our goals and really running after those things, now we have the fights, now we have the territory, now we have
Yes,
like, we
yes,
can't make
yes,
decisions effectively. That's human stuff
yes,
at the root of it.
yes, yes,
And that's
yes,
where team coaching comes in. It's really starting to couple not just the work and the results and the things and the, things we have to do, but how are we being as humans together and accomplishing that?
yeah. I really appreciate that. And it is going to be that. I've been really noodling on this thing, keeping humans human, as
Mm,
everybody's literally rushing towards figuring out who are they in AI. And I'm like, that is great. And we're going to do that. We're there and we'll continue to sophisticate ourselves. But to your point, we still have to come together to make decisions. Only thing that, let me not say the only, because I know I'm gonna freak some people out. The things that AI will do is accelerate the choices we have to make.
mm,
We
mm-hmm,
still have to be the one to choose. It will not do that for us. And in that choice, to your point, is all the stuff that comes in to why I think that's a good choice and what should we do with it.
mm-hmm.
So we still will maintain that human dynamic and have that piece there. I think that's great and important. I'm going to ask you a little bit of personal question as we're coming towards the
Okay.
end. We channeled your five when your son was 5 years old. We channeled him when he was five. Now I want to channel your 21-year-old self. If you think back to when you were 21, what would you tell yourself now? If you could go back and tell your 21-year-old self, so you could be prepared for the moment that you're in, what would that be?
um, it would be, don't hold back, stop holding back, and be
Mm,
bold. I
mm,
would be I would be so much bolder than
mhm,
what I allowed myself to be.
mm,
Um,
mm.
I would be so much more courageous in putting my thoughts on the table, representing like this is my stance. And for me, when I first started my career, like I was in this headspace. Okay, so you said personal, so I'm gonna give you some personal stuff. Like one of
Bring it,
my
bring it,
limiting
bring it,
beliefs
bring it.
that I'm years in the making, right, of still working on is I have to play small in order for others to feel safe. And so I've been working on this for a lifetime, right? And so when I look back at my 21-year-old self, I had thoughts, I had perspective, I had a stance. Now, don't get me wrong, like I put it out there. I actually got sent to a how to be assertive instead of aggressive training early on in my career. So I put it out there. But I remember all the times that I didn't.
Yeah,
I remember
yeah.
those times where I was holding back and I was waiting on permission. where I felt like I had to wait for such and such in this role or in this skin to give me permission to do things. And so I would tell my 21-year-old self, be bolder, be more courageous, because when you show up in that way, it has impact and it has power.
Yeah. Yeah. I really appreciate that. And I think um, the more we give ourselves permission to really, as you said, do what we're designed here for. I think so often we don't know. Even, and I have to tell you, Kimberly, one of the things that um, you've advanced from your 21-year-old self, it is very clear why you are here. There's no confusion why you're here. How you name bamboo teaming, how you literally embody when you talk about bamboo teaming and its purpose and its performance in the world and the work that you do. So that is your 21-year-old self has matured well. So welcome. So since she's taken care of, or continues to evolve, because I'm not sure if we're ever there,
Mm.
I'm gonna ask you, I'm gonna ask you one more. What about your 30-year-old self?
Oh, 30-year-old self. Laugh more, enjoy life more.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that serious.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of
Mm-hmm.
the things like with bamboo teaming is a part of our culture, our values, is lightness. Bring lightness into everything that we do. Lightness, playfulness, because it's not that serious. Like,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I could get all deep and tell you about studies and research that show that humor actually helps teams perform more. Humor, laughter,
Mm-hmm.
positivity.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but for me, it's like, again, we're humans doing this work together. Like,
Yes.
how do we live in a space of joy?
Yes.
How do we live in a space of laughter?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's when we are that way with each other, it actually opens us up to be able to do more. Whereas when we're
Mm-hmm.
in a space of it's not joyful, we're not laughing, dare I say, we're
Mm-hmm.
not in a space where we're giving ourselves permission to love each other as humans, right? Like, it contracts us
Mm-hmm.
and it makes it so much harder for us to do the things that we're trying to do, have the
Yeah.
impact we're trying to have.
You have pulled me in. Joy is one of the October group's guiding principles. And laughing is my personal love language. And I sometimes I even laugh at stuff that's inappropriate, but I just love to laugh. It just, like you said, it is a healthy factor. It is part of our health system to laugh. So that's a beautiful thing. We have about 5 minutes left, so I just want to give pause in case we have folks who want to ask any questions. So let me just scroll and see if we had any questions for you, Kimberly. Looking. I have one more if we don't. Okay, I don't see any. All right. My question for you is my last question for you, and I normally end it on the age thing, but since we have a few more minutes, you've talked about um, just those important key things of same page, we got to be aligned, best fit, do we have the right talent that we need, shared accountability. When you have those things together, what do you normally see? When you see a team having those and they're humming, what do you normally get to see? And I know they don't call you in when it's like that. I know that. You generally arrive when it's not like that. But after you leave, what do you envision happens for a team?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so one of the things that we say, right, like we help teams work better together so they can accelerate results.
Mm,
And when we leave teams, we got to, like, the work that we do with them is we help them go faster. We
mm,
help them go
mm,
faster towards the results they're trying to create. We help them go faster to get to the impact that they're trying to have. So whether or not like we're working with decision making and how effective are they in decision making. Like we've had some of our past clients have shared like in the follow up that we do with them, they've improved their decision making by 100%. Like
Mm.
that's a big gap, right? That's 10 times faster in decision making. When we work with teams on meeting effectiveness and we get in there and we really work with them on what is happening in the meetings, how do you structure these meetings and how do you need
Mm.
to be in relationship in your meetings go faster, right? There
Mhm.
are stats out there that are like what somewhere in the 80%
Mhm.
range, 80% of 85% of the meetings people don't go to. They think they're a waste of time,
Mhm. Mhm.
right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So we leave them in this state of, that's why we just say it's more effective. They're
Mhm.
higher performing, they're more effective. Relationships have improved in terms of our relationship, how we relate to one another, and they get faster in getting to results.
Love it. I'm hearing that they have acceleration of what they've declared their performance is. It gets
Mm-hmm,
there faster. The other key thing you said also is they get to decision also probably with not just more faster, but probably more effectively,
mm-hmm,
and are
mm-hmm,
probably using your word are more open to be even more bold in those decisions,
mm-hmm.
right? Because the right people in the right seats who are going to unleash those imaginations and go for it,
Yeah.
and that there's joy in doing that because the relationships are intact to do that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I
Yes.
love it. It's good. It is good stuff. Um, Thank you so much for taking your time. Kimberly Lewis Parsons, founder of Bamboo Teaming. You have been gracious with your time. You have been patient with the technology shenanigans that we have had. You have shared Jace with me and blocked off some time. So I do will keep my commitment to him. So thank you for it being inclusive of him with this. And um, again, Bamboo Teaming, here to drive performance with joy and all the other things you do. I know great things will come. I also know we will continue to partner, which I'm having fun with. So again, thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Any parting words, Kimberly?
No, I just wanted to say thank you for having me. And we're both going forth and doing this good work.
Doing the
We're doing this good work.
thing,
Mm,
doing the thing. Thank you
that's
so
it.
much. Yep. And I will, with that, I will sign off and thank you so
All
much. Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.